Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about the manufacturing of Ayurvedic preparations as well as homeopathic preparations. Then we are going to see about the manufacturing of patent and proprietary medicines, then warehousing of alcoholic preparations, and also offences and penalties of Medicinal and Toilet Preparations Act. So coming to this manufacturing of Ayurvedic preparations and homeopathic preparations, let us. So Ayurvedic preparations are of two types. The two types of Ayurvedic liquid preparations commonly comes under this act are Aswas and Aristas. So they are called as self-generated alcohol containing preparations. And the second one is prepared by distillation of addition of alcohol at any stage of manufacture. First one is automatically it is generated from this Aristas and Aswas. That is, Aswa and Arista is a very popular dosage form in Ayurvedic medicines. This Aswa and Arista, together it is called as Aswarishta. Together it is called as Aswarishta. It is a very popular dosage form in Ayurvedic medicines. It is unique liquid dosage form that contains self-generated alcohol. Self-generated alcohol. Oftenly it is referred as medicated wine. Oftenly it is referred as medicated wine. This is a self-generated alcohol is produced by method of fermentation. So how it is generated? By a method fermentation. And Ashwaristas are manufactured by industries in batch sizes. They are manufactured in batch sizes of thousands liters. So these Ayurvedic preparations are herbal extracts soluble in both water as well as alcohol. So in generally they will take dried herbs and they do this. So they contain self-generated alcohol. So that's why we use it as we call it as self-generated alcohols. So the second one is it is preparation by distillation or by adding alcohol at any stage wherever it is required. So that is the role. Then coming to self-generated preparation, contain alcohol were earlier exempted from excise duty. So self-generated preparations containing alcohol were earlier exempted from the excise duty. But however, now all such preparations are chargeable with 4%, with 4% of ad valorem excise duty. Ad valorem excise duty. So now they are adding excise duty. Valorem is nothing but a tax whose amount is based on the value of transaction of the property. So valorem excise duty means it is a tax whose amount is based on value of a transaction or a property. It is typically imposed at the time of transaction, as it case may be anything, value added tax or any other sales tax or excise tax. So everything can be added. So this this will be done by the government only. And those preparations with more than 2% self-generated alcohol and being capable of consumed as a beverage are charged duty of 4%. So the one which is having 2%, that is Ayurvedic preparations with less than 2% or equal to 2%, those are called as non-alcoholic preparations, and therefore they are exempted from the payment of excise duty. So the preparations which contain more than 2%, they are capable of consumed as a beverage, and we charge duty of 4% of ad valorem. So Ayurvedic preparations are exempted for the license from excise authorities if the samples are being used for their own patients. Ayurvedic practitioners are exempted for license from excise authorities if the samples are being used for their own patients. However, the excise officer should be allowed to take the sample as and when required. And the thing is, Ayurvedic preparations which are capable of consuming like or as alcoholic beverages are liable to pay a duty fee of rupees 2.50 per liter as per PAC. 2.50 rupees 2 rupees 50 NP per liter as per PAC, pure alcoholic content. For Ayurvedic preparations. Even in all other Ayurvedic preparations, like alcohol is been added or liable to the duty of rupees 80 per liter of alcohol, they may be manufactured only in non-bonded laboratories. So in non-bonded laboratories, alcohol has been added and are liable to pay duty all other than Ayurvedic preparations. So 80 rupees per liter of alcohol, and they may be manufactured in bonded laboratory or non-bonded laboratory. Next, Ayurvedic practitioners under this act, obtain licenses are allowed to manufacture and dispense such preparations with free of duty. They should use such preparations only for their own patients. And the practitioners has to allow the excise officers to take samples manufactured by them, and they should maintain the accounts. Just now I said the point. They should maintain the accounts of the quantities manufactured and dispersed to the patients. And they should also maintain the name and address of the patients. Because see, they are giving permission to manufacture and dispense of such alcoholic preparations with free of duty, but it is only restricted to some extent, that is to their own patients. And whenever the excise officers are asked, they have to give the samples as and when they require. This is about your manufacturing of Ayurvedic preparations. It's very simple. Two types are there: self-generating alcohol and mixing the alcohol at any stage in the manufacture. So self-generated alcohol, it is called as Ashvaristas. Just now I have explained. And 2%, less than 2%, it is called as non-alcoholic. And above that, it is tax will be added 4% as per the time. Next, all homeopathic preparations, manufacturing of homeopathic preparations. All homeopathic preparations containing alcohol are liable to excise duty, and the duty payable will be 20 rupees per liter as per PAC, pure alcoholic content. See, in earlier days, it is measured with the different names. That's why in earlier days, the duty payable on the alcohol content of as per London Proof Spirit Strength, LS, London Proof Spirit Strength. And now it has been revised and to be paid on the basis of pure alcoholic content, PAC. So this was revised at the time of Financial Bill 1989, PAC, pure alcoholic content. Earlier it is called as London Proof Spirit Strength. As per London Proof Spirit Strength, we are paying, and it has been revised and converted to the name called PAC, pure alcoholic content. So this will be very small and simple. Then manufacturing of patent and proprietary medicines. So patent or proprietary medicines, preparations which are not given in the pharmacopoeias are known as patent and proprietary medicines. Already you know what is patent, right? So pharmacopoeias means the standard books which we refer for procedures. For example, IP, BP, USP, etc. So all those books comes under pharmacopoeias. Patents and proprietary preparations containing alcohol, which are capable of being consumed as alcoholic beverages, known as restricted preparations. Any manufacturer wishes to manufacture patent and proprietary preparations should obtain license from the concerned licensing authority. So they should submit 2 samples to the state government. The state government will forward the samples to the central government, and the central government will forward the same sample to the standing committee. Then the standing committee prepare the reports after seeing the sample. Again, it sends back the same thing to the central committee, central government. The central government will declare whether the sample is restricted or unrestricted preparations. Why? Because already I said you that patent proprietary preparations containing alcohol, which are capable of being consumed as alcoholic beverages, those are known as restricted preparations. So that has to be confirmed by the central government. Right. So this is about your manufacturing of patent and proprietary medicines. I hope you got this point. Patent and proprietary medicines are those medicines which are not mentioned in pharmacopoeias. Pharmacopoeias are nothing but IP, BP and USP books, which we refer for standard preparations. And for whoever it is, they have to obtain license from licensing authority, and they should submit 2 samples to the state government. State government forward the same samples to the central government, and the central government will forward the same samples to the standing committee. Standing committee will prepare the reports after seeing the sample. Then those samples, then the central government, after seeing the reports of the standing committee, will declare whether the sample is restricted or unrestricted preparations. Right, coming to warehouse of alcoholic preparations. So establishment of warehouse to store goods containing alcoholic preparation on which duty has not been paid. Licenses can be issued by making a payment of prescribed fees 25 rupees with bond and security from the excise commissioner of the state. So the manufacturer, those who want to establish a warehouse, should obtain a license from the excise commissioner by submitting an application with a prescribed fee of rupees 25. Duty will be paid at the time of removal of goods from the warehouse, that is excise duty. Excise duty fee payment will be done when the goods are removed from the warehouses. All goods should be weighed, gauged and assessed as per the duty and recorded. No goods can be issued without payment of duty except export from India to transfer to another bonded warehouse. So if you are changing from non-bonded to bonded warehouse, for that no need, but other than that you are supposed to pay the fees. So movement of goods between 2 warehouses should be done by bond and security of twice amount of duty. Goods can be stored for a maximum period of 3 years from the date of it is entered in the records. When it is entered in the records, as per that date, only 3 years, for a period of maximum 3 years, it will be sold. Within 7 days of expiry of each month, the licensee must submit the details of the transactions made in the warehoused goods. So for warehouse also we have to take permission. So for that what we have to do is, when the warehouse time period is about to expire before 7 days of expiry of each month, the licensee must submit the details of transactions of the warehouse. Then that is with this is about the warehouse of alcoholic preparations. That is at the end, before offenses and penalties, I want to say there is an interstate transportation of alcoholic goods. So interstate transportation of alcoholic goods, alcoholic preparations can be transported from one state to another state after payment of duty fee. But they may move from bonded warehouse to in one state to bonded warehouse in another state without making any payment of duty fee. So from one state to another state, it can move, but after paying the duty fee. But if it is moving from bonded laboratory to another bonded laboratory from one state to another state, no need to pay any duty fee. So the procedure for interstate transport of alcoholic goods is same as that of movement of goods from one warehouse to another warehouse. So the records has to be maintained. Next, offenses and penalties. Offenses and penalties. So whoever is not following the norms, punishments are given at various offenses under this act. Failure to follow the license conditions, that is payment of duty, if it is not done properly, imprisonment up to 6 months or fine with rupees 2000 or both. Fine with 2000 or both. False information. That is any person who is giving willfully false information and he will be liable to punishment of 2 years with a fine of or fine up to rupees 2000 or both. I'm saying false information. Then disorderly keeping the stocks and accounts. Here also he will be, if they are not maintaining accounts properly, there will be fine up to rupees 2000. Illegal sale of dutiable goods. So the one which has to be paid the duty goods and you have to sell it. If illegally they are selling, it will be fine up to 1000 rupees. Failure to furnish export proof. So if anyone is failing to show the consignment copy, exporting proof, then he will be fined with rupees 20,000. He will be fined with his 20,000. Failure to provide maintaining, weighing, measuring devices, then fine up to 1000 rupees. Offenses done with respect to warehousing also, those also will be fined up to 2000 rupees or shall be imprisonment. That depends upon the situation. Then excise officers, if excise officers fails to duty, imprisonment up to 3 months or fine or both. If any such seizures are there, it will be fine up to 2000. Not saying information properly, then it will be fine up to 1000 rupees. Then as far as public, if they are fooling, 2 years or fine up to 2000 rupees or both. And if any mistake done by owners or occupiers of the land, imprisonment up to 6 months or fine up to 500 rupees or both. So these are offenses and penalties. Apart from all these offenses and penalties, general penalty is if anyone is breaking the rules made under this act, he will be punishable with a fine of rupees 1000, or it may be depends upon the situation. So according to this act. So in this act, you have studied about medicinal and toilet preparations, bonded and non-bonded laboratory. Then you have studied about manufacturing of Ayurvedic, homeopathic and patent and proprietary preparations. Then how to keep warehouse of alcoholic preparations and how to transfer from one warehouse to another warehouse, when we have to pay the duty and when we should not pay the duty. And we have also studied about interstate transport of alcoholic goods. So this chapter is mainly on payment of excise duty fee. So medicinal and toilet preparations are prepared by using alcohol or rectified spirit or hemp, coca. So all these things comes under here. And according to this act, Medicinal and Toilet Preparations Act, The questions may be asked in any of the ways. Write in detail about bonded laboratory, or write in detail about non-bonded laboratory, or he can write the differences between bonded laboratory and non-bonded laboratory. Or he may also ask, explain the procedure how to obtain a license for a bonded laboratory, and draw and illustrate the general description of bonded laboratory along with the pictorial representation. So in any of the ways they can ask questions. It's a very easy chapter, right? Any other questions you can